Jack is back at it again. This time he's headed towards a swamp where supposedly there's a hermit that knows some secrets on time travel that can help Jack out. So as soon as he reaches the hermit, he finds that it's a small little green guy, kind of like Master Yoda, except for extremely evil because this guy turns out to be a coup. Now, if you just look at him, you realize this is a coup, but Jack, on the other hand, he doesn't have the best track record of these things, so I'm hoping that he realizes before it's too late, but knowing Jack, I'm not going to hold my breath on this one. So Jack, he goes into Ku's hut and they discuss on what exactly Jack is looking for. Hermit, a Ku, then brings up the story of the Titan Kronos and how he controlled space and time, and they go into his whole story and how he was betrayed by Zeus, imprisoned in Tartarus, how he had these 3 gems that supposedly helped him control space and time that were now in artifacts scattered around Earth, and so they need to go on this grand adventure to go find these said artifacts. Now, I personally really like this because what we're about to see is an entire adventure of Indiana Jones taking place here, where they just going around doing these artifact missions, and it's a good time. In fact, the very first mission is actually very reminiscent of the very first movie of Indiana Jones. We went to South America to the Maya Temple, where there was this helm that Jack has to get from there, kind of reminiscent of the head that Indy tried to grab. Now, unlike Indiana Jones, who tried to use coins as a counterweight to take the head off and, not set any traps, Jack just goes straight on in there, picks up the helmet, and the whole trap system sets off. I'm like, Jack, come on. You should know that there's traps in these things. But regardless, the whole place starts filling up with water, and it looks like it's going to be pretty dire with the whole thing going on. Aku is up at the top, just mocking Jack constantly, like, hurry up, we don't have much time. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I personally liked it. It was just like, dang, Aku, even this point in time, when you're supposed to be helping the samurai get these gems, you're still an ass. I just personally like it. Now, regardless, Jack uses mind, throws the helm into the hole where the water is coming out, causing a great amount of pressure that then causes a water spout shooting out the helmet and Jack along with it. Because this helm is gigantic. It is the size of a Titan's head, so it would make sense why it's so big. Now, with the first artifact collected and the first gem, they move on to the next one. And this one, I like to think it's kind of like the Mount Doom adventure or maybe Temple of Doom. The reason why I'm saying that is because it is a mountainous area that is pretty desolate, but that's kind of where the similarities to Mount Doom ends. And the only reason why I bring up the Temple of Doom is because it's kind of the only Indiana Jones film that I consider to be Indiana Jones film that kind of matches that landscape at all. Not really, but it just kind of is in that realm. At least that's my personal thoughts on that one. Now, what they find once they get into the mountain is that they find these platforms of rock being held up by these gusts of air that I'm just like, wait, why are they getting just blown away? Is there like some kind of spell that had on them, or what's causing this? Because it's a cartoon. Don't think too much into it. Yes, I understand that, but still, as a fan, we should be able to ask these questions like, what's causing this? Why is this here? Was this set up by the gods as a test to see if you're brave enough to go collect this next artifact? I'm just curious exactly why this is set up like this. Just me personally, but regardless, Jackie's able to turn his rope into a parachute like a flying squirrel. Pretty awesome. I liked it. Pretty ridiculous at the same time to think that would actually work, but I enjoy it. Jack is then able to float up to where that fist was held and able to grab it pretty easily. Not too difficult for Jack there. And from there, they move on to the third and final item where they need. And this one is kind of interesting. It's kind of in this glass dome that for some reason has been able to survive for a millennium. I don't quite understand why, because you would presume this place would have been broken into at least by now. Also, it has an interesting mechanic where it only opens at the crack of dawn. So if you want to get into that glass sphere, you have to go into that exact time if you want to go collect the fists. Now, Jackie's able to go do that, but here's the catch. As the sun's rising up, the glass is being hit by the sun and then causing a magnifying effect where it starts burning the sand inside. And you can see the corpses of all those who've tried before to collect this artifact, and they've all failed because of that. Jackie's able to reach the artifact before the sun reaches him, and this is what kind of confuses me of this whole situation, that he's able to then use the artifact to reflect the sunlight back into the dome that then is able to destroy the entire dome. And I'm like, wait, if that's the case, then shouldn't that already have destroyed the dome, because the sunlight would have hit the fist and the sunlight would have just reflected off and destroy everything around it? So it just kind of odd in my personal opinion. That's what's going on there. Now, yes, again, it is a cartoon, so kind of shut your brain off a little bit, but it would be nice to get like a little bit of an explanation of, a direct hit from this. Can cause this whole thing melt or cause the whole thing destroyed. But I guess it's not that necessary. Just me being a little bit nerdy on it with like a little more detail on why this could happen. Now, with all three gems, Jack and Hermit and Aku, they head back to the swamp where Aku can then make the preparations for the portal to be created. At least, that's what Jack is still on the presumption of what they're doing. Now, as it's taking place, there's a giant explosion that takes place during the ritual and then creating the Titan Kronos. Da da da! Like we all saw this was coming. So with the rise of the Titan Kronos, Jack has to go on a mano with this creature, and he's actually able to do pretty well. In fact, he's even able to vanquish it somehow. Like, how the heck do you vanquish a Titan god? Like, what's going on here? Well, it turns out that Jack didn't quite trust the Hermit Aku because he has one of the gems in his hand as he mocks the Hermit Aku, and in fact outright states like, "You thought you could get me this time, Aku? I realized who you were and picked up your plans." And with that, he goes forward and has an epic duel with Aku, just slashing him left, right, and center. This is actually probably the most damage Jack has ever done to Aku, except for maybe in the first episode where Aku flung him into the future. This episode, he almost completely annihilates him. And it only stops because, well, the show had to continue on for another couple seasons. So, Jack did an excellent job here. I loved every aspect of the show. I like that we got to see another shape-changing aspect of Aku. I like that we got to go on this Indiana Jones adventure. I like that we got to get a little bit of Greek mythology in here. And also, I love that Jack was able to actually kick Aku's butt. And I just wish he would have been able to finish him off. Like, it was such an epic fight that the fact that he didn't able to kill him off, just kind of lessened the episode just a little bit in my opinion, but not too much. Overall, an excellent episode. I personally loved it. You guys let me know, what did you think of this episode? Did you like the fact that we got to see another shape-changing form of Aku? Because we don't get that enough in my opinion. Or did you really enjoy the Indiana Jones nature of this episode? Or were you more interested in the Greek aspect where we got to see the Titan Kronos come in? Or was the fight with Aku something that you really enjoyed? Let me know down below. I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and catch you later. Bye.